Successive back-to-back 3-0 defeats at Old Trafford in the Premier League for Manchester United. I want to start because I may forget and say congratulations to Tottenham. By far and away the better team. Played with Man United, schooled Man United, battered Manchester United today. They warranted their 1-0 lead at halftime. And if it really in this game, if it wasn't for Timo Werner, it really would have been 5, 6, 7 or 8. It was a dominant performance from them. They little broed Man United today. They ragdolled us around the pitch and thoroughly deserved the 3 points. They demonstrated that at this particular juncture, at this moment, they are a better football team than we are. And we can banter with show us your trophies. We can banter with when did you last win a league? We can do the Spursy thing. Great. That don't make me feel any better. Spurs fans can come and lord it up. Fair play to them. Spurs fans can come and give it the big one. They deserve it today. So credit to them. And we will, of course, later in this show, spend some more time talking about Tottenham Hotspur's performance because I think there's some real good things in there. The second half, look, it's 10 men versus 11. United did try to get back into the game. I think maybe Spurs fans would be a little bit frustrated that they didn't. They got the second goal very early, but they could have got the third and fourth and fifth and really turned it into a party. And I think there are some Man United fans, by the way, who kind of want Ten Hag to be sacked, but maybe secretly praying that a fourth and a fifth and a sixth went in. But more to come on that later. I'm trying to compose myself because my head is hot. My head is really, really hot. And my first message is very simple. I like a lot of what Ineos has done since they came in. But they chose not to sack this manager and to give him a chance. The PR has been excellent. We've seen a very good summer. Most rivals agreed Man United had a good summer in the transfer market. For years, I bemoaned the idea of sacking a manager because we lacked the structure and the key decision makers to make a model where you're rapidly going through managers' work. We now have that structure. We have spent more money. I don't believe when you look at the performances that we have put in just this season alone, that is because we lack quality players. Doesn't mean we're the finished article. Doesn't mean I think we're as good as Man City, Arsenal, or Liverpool, or Chelsea right now. But we should be able to play better football than that. Ineos, you need to stand up now. You need to dismiss this man. It isn't going to get better versus Porto. We're not going to become more consistent against Aston Villa. And although I said in the build-up to this game, there was this part of me that wanted to lose. And it goes against every fiber of my being wanting Man United to lose. My rationale is, even if we won today, even if we were very good today, I don't believe that Erik Ten Hag is ever going to make us a consistent team. And on the field of play today, we saw that. We didn't know when the press trigger was. We also didn't stop the ball being played for our midfield. Now, Spurs were good and deserve credit. But they ain't that good where they can bypass every press and pass for a team when it sits back at will that easy. Do you know why we know they're not that good? Because it isn't like they've been doing it all season. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Tottenham. Please don't think I am. Thoroughly deserve their win today. But this team had no idea what they were doing. Poor in the press. Easy to pass through. And they look confused. Now, in any walk of life, if you don't know what you're meant to be doing, confusion sets in and performance drops. You could be the best salesman in the world, 10 years straight, number one, or whatever company you're at. If you come and join my firm and you only learn about 1/3 of the products, you only know about half the process, and everything's confusing, give it time and your performance will be hindered. And that is what I saw from these players tonight. A bunch of players that were almost looking at each other saying, what are we meant to do? Press, sit back? They were caught on the in-between. Awful. And that is the manager. That is the manager 110%. Why we are always, no matter who the players are, just purchased or old, Why are we always half a yard too slow when one of our front players gets bypassed? The next player coming in the press is always half a yard too slow, irrespective of the players. And a lot of Man United fans will do it today. Oh, I hate Rashford. I'm going in on him. Do you know what? I hate Bruno. Perfect opportunity to go in on him. Do you know what? I loved AWB. Therefore, I hate Delo. I'm going in on him tonight because he was poor. It's just ridiculous. It doesn't matter who plays, who starts, who we sell, who we buy. The same problems persist. Therefore, we know it isn't a player issue. Most of the players that leave us look better. Most of the players that go out on international duty look better. And I've seen them all play better consistently for other teams. This is on the structure of this side. The rebuild is new under Ineos. Ten Hag isn't. And he absolutely has to go. Without a shadow of a doubt, tonight, the announcement needs to come out. He has to be moved on as the Manchester United manager. Thank you for the FA Cups, the FA Cup. Thank you for the League Cup. You know, most Premier League managers never win trophies, ever. Thank you for that. But we have to have higher standards. We have to. And I'll get called a hypocrite. Terry, you used to bemoan the idea of going through 2 or 3 managers quickly. Yes, when the club's structure was built and the identity of that manager. We've ripped that out this summer. Therefore, I'm all for it. It's what all the other top clubs in the world do. There is no way a Bayern Munich, a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, a PSG, a Man City, a Liverpool, a Chelsea. I don't think any manager could start a season this badly at a top club and not lose their job. I know some will say, but Arteta didn't. Completely different scenario. Arteta didn't have 10 years experience going into his 3rd year when he was performing this badly. Go and look at Arteta, where he was at the start of his 3rd full season at Arsenal. Completely different kettle of fish. So the comparison is horseshit. He has to go. He absolutely has to go because today, I haven't got to the red card yet. Today was the worst performance I've ever seen from a Man United team ever. And I'm not even... The second half where we created a little bit and we looked good on the ball, that's because Spurs said, there you go. Have a go. There you go. Have a little play. We've had a push. Now you can have a pull. That's all that was. And even then, we weren't good enough. We didn't know what we were doing. So from my point of view and perspective, I am fuming. I am absolutely fuming. Yes, I didn't want to win the game. And everybody knows that. I've already given out the reasons as to why. But I ain't happy about this. I am not sitting here, oh, it's okay, guys. It means the manager's close to going. Woo! I'm never happy. I don't want to be right. And you know what's really interesting? I got this tweet at me today. Carl here says, for the first time, I am with you about Ten Hag. I've had this message about 30 or 40 times today from multiple people that the whole of last season said, no, we've got to give him time. They're all now saying, look, he's been given that time. The structure's here. And in fact, there hasn't been an improvement overall. We have gone backwards from last year. We are, 11th, 12th in the league? It's an abomination. And at this stage, the entire season is still salvageable. But we must act now. In terms of the goals and stuff, look, the first goal, Mickey van der Ven, absolutely amazing. That run from him was colossal. It was out of this world. An absolute star of a player. He deserves so much credit for it. Brennan Johnson, 4 and 4 for him. From a United point of view, I mean, look, Rashford should have tracked back. Ugarte and De Ligt run past too easy. And then Delo, Delo was holding his hands up. Anyone who's defending Delo here, you're crazy. He didn't track his runner. All of them culpable in that. And absolutely. The remaining goals, look, we were down to 10 men. We tried to attack. There were spaces. I'm not too concerned about that. The red card, could that have changed the game? Look, no one on Sky Sports thought it was a red card. I'm changing my mind every 30 seconds. He slips, he flicks out a leg. I can understand the rationale as to why some people think it is a red card for serious foul play. But his studs aren't facing the player. His ankle hits the shin. People keep saying it's knee height. I'm like, no, it's shin height. I suppose you could say it's a little higher because his legs off the ground. I don't think it was a red card. Personally, I understand why it was given. but I still don't think the game would have changed. And that's, I wanted to mention the red card because I think inconsistent and poor decisions this season have to be called out irrespective of the result. I think if that card went the other way, people would be, and Man United went on to win, people would accuse Man United of cheating. They would say that Spurs were robbed. But look, it is what it is. I mean, the interesting thing now is Bruno misses 3 games. Let's see if all the people that think Bruno's the problem are now right when he misses the next 3 matches. Let's see if we suddenly improve and become this amazing team. Who knows? But for me, look, if I was in charge of Man United tonight, I would be sacking Erik ten Hag. I thank him. I'd give him his severance package. I'd say, listen, thank you. Clear your locker. You can say goodbye to the players, but we have to move on from you. Give it to Ruud for a few weeks, or go out there and break the bank for another head coach who can improve this team, the structure of the team. And you know what's really interesting? I've said this for years. The structure of the club had to be fixed first. Then you start focusing on the structure of the team. Then you start focusing on individual players. And you've got to get that pyramid in place. We've done the structure. Now we have to get a manager that sets us as a club. Now we need to be set up on the pitch, in and out of possession, where we look strong and resolute and there's consistency. Then within that consistency, you can say, do you know what? Garnacho's not the guy. Do you know what? Bruno ain't the man. Do you know what? Delo ain't it. Hypothetical examples there, and you can plug and play. The problem is we've been such a mess for so long. It's all been so up in the air. It's been impossible to sometimes nail down exactly what your thoughts, feelings, and problems are. But look, for me, the manager has got to go. The manager is done. Ineos, please sack him now. I'm going to go to the super chats before we bring the panel out today. First one says, Bruno stinker, red card and hooked, likely says. Yeah, he was having a stinker. The whole damn team was. The old team was having an absolute nightmare before that red card. Absolutely. Your club is trash. Ugarte trash, old Trashford. Thank you, D. Man United, listen, you're not going to bait a Man United fan into kicking off saying my club's trash. Been screaming for my owners to be out and for the structure to be fixed for the past 17 years. I know exactly what's wrong with my football club. It's what the likes of me and KJ have been out here telling you guys. I back managers, but sack Ten Hag now. Give it to Ruud. Spurs fair play, but I need him gone. Ten Hag, it's over, is what Ronnie Dodge says. Eriksen killed the momentum with 2 poor corner. Sorry, that's cheered me up. Beating Man United is no longer an achievement, but an obligation. Listen, I was sitting there thinking about how would Spurs fans feel. We're going to speak to them soon. When it was only 2-0, I almost felt like some Spurs fans may have a sense of disappointment if it ends 2-0 or 2-1 at that point. In terms of it should have been a lot more. But I do think teams feel this. They absolutely do, playing against this team. Sakanj now, he's out of his depth in this league. Oh, yeah, well, what now? If the front was more clinical, it would have been 6 or 7. Big up yourself, Jerome. Hope you're well, mate. Thank you, Assad. There, 45 months as a member, you legend. Thank you. I'm happy with the performance considering Son was out. Yes, Timo wasn't good, but it doesn't matter because we aren't the Harry Kane team anymore. Yeah, and also look, Dominic Solanke, 3 goals in 3 games. I actually told Spurs fans this. I didn't think you had anything to worry about. I think he's well worth the money, and he'll prove that. Man United passing was so scratchy today. Bruno and Xerxes were absolutely awful with their first touches. No excuses for this performance whatsoever. No, there isn't none. There's a reason, and they're not well drilled enough. They're not well coached enough. And do you know how I know that? And again, Spurs fans will see this as a dig, but they have a number of players in their team that you wouldn't look at and go, no one would look at Brennan Johnson and go, bruv, he's techie. He traps the ball well, passes it. It's how you're drilled. Our players are so much better than they perform in this Man United team. Just go and watch how good some of our players that left in the summer have been already this season away from Man United. Trust me. Do you still disagree with me that off the ball you're still not great? No. Again, I haven't disagreed with that all season. There have been games this campaign where there have been improvements. There's been no doubt. And I've praised the improvements when they happened. I also called out when it hasn't been there. But since that Liverpool game, it's not been there far too frequently, in my opinion, Jason. I feel bad for my former Mud brothers. Ten Hag in. Thank you, Jafar. I'm not shocked by this, is what Joshua Jack says. I'm shocked that people are surprised. This is the same as last year. The bar is on the floor, and we made everything seem like it was like an improvement, but it was just individuals. Look, I think a lot of Man United fans got behind the decision to keep him. They remained objective. They waited for the proof in the pudding. But I think we've had enough tasting sessions now. It does not taste right. There's far too much salt. There's far too much butter. This shit is going to give you a heart attack. You gave us 60 million for Mount. Thank you, Man United. Yeah, that was Woodward and his group. Not the current owners. Thank God. Some players don't want to wear the shirt. Well, we know this is true. Christian Eriksen, after the FC20 game, said that FC20 wanted it more. That means we didn't want it. That means players aren't playing for the shirt. It needs to be nipped at the bud today. This is not one note. Sorry, this is a one note Tottenham team. Why not sit back and break? What's with the 4-3-3? But we spoke about this on Straight Facts, and the team that the manager went with is exactly what Staffy said it would be, and he was right. And it isn't what we should have done. Again, we were a team that was caught between two systems today. The players didn't know what they were meant to be doing. Do we absorb or do we press? And we were in between. And do you know what? Mr. Miyagi said something so brilliant to Daniel LaRusso in Karate Kid 1. I'm not going to do the accent, but he said, if on the left side of the road, you're okay. If on the right side of the road, you're okay. But if you walk in the middle, you're squashed like a grape, right? And he's talking about the balance of life in that moment, not so much the karate. But it's true. Man United today, it was like we were half pressing and half trying to absorb. But therefore, we were neither, and it was so easy. It was horrendous. Again, manager. The amount of misplaced passes, it's coaching. I agree. I'm happy that Chelsea didn't buy Ugarte, Lord. But look, this is where I will defend some of the United players, not in their performance, but people were saying that about some of the Chelsea players who were being praised yesterday because you look so much better now that your club has continued to develop, that you've gone out and bought more, going into your third year of your rebuild, and improved on your head coach. Let's see what happens if and when we do that. I'm sitting on the fence with the red. Need a blue card for these situations, but why did he take a midfielder off? Surely you take off an attacker and pack out the midfield. Clueless, mate. Ten Hag been in charge since February. This is on them. Yeah, I think keeping Ten Hag is definitely on them. I'm not going to not say it is. Every new ownership makes mistakes, and at no point have I ever said they were going to be perfect. Spurs missed 6 big chances. They were crap, is what True Blue Clay says. By the way, his start is worse than Ollie's now. Sack him tonight. Yeah, he's got to go. Here's a question. Ask a Tottenham fan, would you swap the last 2 seasons with Man United? Arsenal fan here. We could. Look, the problem is, if I ask that question today, we're getting called salty. So maybe we'll ask it on the top 6. But in fairness, I think listen, they probably would swap it for the trophies. But again, I feel like I know you've super chatted. I feel like me asking that question now is a bit salty, mate. Even though it's come from you, but I'll ask it when they're out. He's been worse than Ollie, given the credentials and his working history going into this job role. You can keep Mount. Should have bought Gallagher instead. Yeah, but this is the thing. Look how good Gallagher has looked so far at it. Am I right or am I wrong? He's looked good. I've watched 2 games and I've read the reports. He's doing really well. Doesn't mean he would have done well at your club with the system you're trying to play. But at the same time, it's not always the player. Ten Hag is absolute dross. Sack him in the AM. Sack him now. It's 1 less day's pay. Well, he gets paid it all off, doesn't he? But there we go. Lack of coaching, lack of preparation. You know how Spurs will set up to play. Still no coordination between players. Shocking as always. No surprise. I agree. This is where it could get bad, though. Is if Southgate comes in. Like that's where I say keep Ten Hag. That's where I say I'll keep Ten Hag. I think I take that back. We won't become Premier League champions with him, but I still think we'd be at least with him. And I'm not saying I want this. At least we'd have a system. At least we'd have a system. At least the players would know what they're doing, right? the football will be boring. It'll be very pragmatic. It isn't what I want, but it would be better than this. That is not an endorsement. It's just a perspective. All you top Reds got blood on your hands. Terry, time to speak on Mickey Mount, 300k a week. What do you mean time to speak on him? I've been talking about him. I kicked off when we signed him, bruv. I ain't got to say it again. Where is keeping 11 players on the field go? Coming from an Arsenal fan. United were crap. Rashi has lost his magic. The whole team has lost its magic, bruv. Terry, do you think Roy Keane will be happier with the 10-men performance in the second half? Yeah, it was crazy. First 5 minutes of the second half. Why weren't we hard to... Oh, anyway. Ten Hag forever. Give him a 10-year contract. Legend. Cheers, mate. Our fans threw Champions League winners winning Cass under the bus for Manuel Ugarte to come in and die as well. But this was my problem, and this is what's going to happen. It's going to be when we speak to the Spurs fans. I'm going to say this to the panel backstage. I want to review the game. I don't want all of the talk today to just be about how bad Man United are run. The United fans probably speak about sacking Ten Hag. The reason I say that is because we are here to review a game as well. So I want to speak about the football match and some of the because often we get caught up in that. But what I'll say is this, and if and when Staffy shows up, it has to be, he'll say I'm right about loads of things, and he is. But the thing with Casemiro, he was awful against Liverpool. But for a year and a half, everyone's been blaming him for how bad their midfielder's been. And I sit there and I'm like, no, it is the system. It is how we set up and how we're coached, more so than it is the player. Today, he went more into an 8 role when he came on. He actually looked all right. There we go. Who knew? Who knew? We tried to tell you, but you shoved 2 trophies in a season down our throats. I didn't. I will still shove it down people's throats because it's embarrassing for you lot that we won more trophies than you when we've been this bad. But as I've said all along, if anybody says trophies are the pinnacle, and when you're finishing 8th in your league and you can't win more than 1 game in 9 in the Champions League, they're talking out of their butthole. Their butthole stank. Terry, I've been suffering with my mental health for some years. Just wanted to say a massive thank you for everything you do. Your show has helped me through it. I appreciate that, my friend. And yeah, look, we all have these moments where we suffer, and you know, if I've helped in any way, shape, or form, then I'm humbled by you saying that. But look, you know, stick with the terrace, and you know, hopefully we'll bring you that entertainment. But look, address what those issues are at root cause. Get yourself out, eat good, get to the gym, try and do your best to work through this, because you can get through it, mate. All right, it's temporary. Ineos succumbing to outsider pressure and keeping Ten Hag could undo their good work. Not in the long term. I think you can look at Chelsea right now and how good they look. If they keep improving by the end of this season, you could be really nitpicky and a bit of an arsehole and go, imagine if they got it right at the beginning. I still don't like them. Mistakes happen. Mistakes happen. If they're still improving, they'll just be happy with where they are. If he's sacked today, a new manager comes in and we start to improve, for me, it's easily forgivable. If they get 3, 4, 5 manager appointments on the bounce wrong, that's when we're having a different conversation. Southgate incoming. Oh, can you imagine? He should be subbed off. Should have subbed off Garnacho for Ahmad before the red. Good shout. Yes, 11,000 people watching, people. So let's get that like button smashed. Let's get that like button hit right now, please. 20 more years of Ten Hag. Well, that's all the message we need that he's got to go. Mickey van der Room. Yeah, he was great today. He genuinely was good. He didn't need it that often, but the recovery pace was there. The run from him was amazing. He's just a phenomenal defender. He truly, truly is. Terry, at least Southgate has a style of play. Well, he does. Like he does. We'll be better than this under Southgate, but we still won't get to where we want to be. So it's not a move that I would personally endorse. Panels joining me now. We've got KJ, we've got Deji, we've got Kate, we've got Dizzy, we've got Brandon coming on the show as well. Welcome back to all of you. Congratulations to the Spurs fans. Well done for beating my Limp Dick club. KJ, I am going to come to you first. What went wrong today?
Everything. You know, everything. The system is completely shot. The fact that within, what is that, 2 games? Yeah, within 2 games, 2 defenders have ran through our entire team from their half. Yeah, it just says it all. There's clearly issues with the way that we play, clearly issues with the system, and It's one of those ones where I can't get mad at the players no more. I can't get mad at the players no more because it's him. It's the manager, the way that we're set up. It makes everyone fail. Listen, Yogata's just come in and everyone's on his neck because it's saying he's crap. It's not going to help us. Hey, listen. Any player in that system is going to fail. He sets us up to fail. We can't win like this. Our attack is poor. Our build-up is poor. Our midfield's got holes. And our defense is flipping, fighting against the flood. Onana helped us today. If Rhino could actually shoot properly, then maybe there was more goals. But Onana kept it down, kept the score down. He did what he could. The defenders, they're doing what they can. Yeah, the low end Maswara got cooked today, but normally they've been fine. De Ligt and Martinez have been fine in terms of their individual performances. It's just a structure as a whole team going forward. And I know Judge is smiling and laughing, but we all know Spurs could be here at any moment. So I understand just taking the moment. I'm acknowledging my team is crap. I acknowledge my team is bad. I've actually never said that we were good. I even said that we finished 7th at the start of the season. So this isn't a Man United fan.
Can we get the violins out? Can we get the violins out?
This isn't a United fan saying, "Oh yeah, I think we're good," and now suddenly switching. I didn't want Ten Hag. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want these things. But as a team, we don't play good football. We are one of the worst coached teams in Europe, I believe. And going forward, we need to get rid of him to even see a hint of something. Now, if Ineos pick the wrong guy again, then I'll get on their ass. But right now, they made a mistake. They tried to keep him, give him a chance. It's failed. And give him that P45 tonight and move forward.
Can I ask you this question? Obviously, it was very easy for Tottenham today to play through us. We didn't press, we didn't absorb. It was like a combination of the two things. It was just like a walk in the park. Is that on the players for not following instruction, or do you think that's because they just haven't been drilled enough and they're confused about what they should be doing? No, How did you personally see that?
I see it as they're following instruction. They are following instruction. The instruction is bad. Like that's what it is. Because if you're seeing the same issues week in, week out, then clearly something's being told to them that they're doing. Because it's not like he's changed the way that we play completely. It's not like certain players are getting switched out because that player is doing the same, doing what I want them to do better than the other players, and they're making mistakes. All of them are looking bad. All of them are looking terrible because they're listening to this guy doing these instructions, and it's terrible. And they don't believe. They do not believe in this system. They don't believe in the way that we play, and they don't believe in this manager. Because if they did, our heads wouldn't drop every time we go concede a goal. If they did, we'd be able to fight back against teams and look like we actually can do something. Because when Spurs scored their goal, I had no belief that these guys would get their heads up and actually start attacking and take control of the game and put Spurs under pressure. I didn't believe that happened because I know that they're stressed. I see players put in tackles, and then you can see the team freezes because they're worried. They don't want to go in again and try and fight for the ball. It's crap. If I miss this tackle, that's it. Like, we've got people free on goal, and that's why Spurs had so much space. Spurs had all the space in the world today to ping the ball around, take the time. They had everything today because they have been set up correctly. They know what they're doing, and our players are terrified. They are scared because they know one mistake, and you got Mickey van der Ven running through the entire team. One mistake, and they're free on goal for a cutback. It's instructions, Terry, and they're listening to it. They're actually performing it, and we're backed because they're not good instructions.
Yeah, I've seen on the face of a few of the Spurs fans. You look a little bit annoyed, some of you, that we're criticizing our team rather than praising Spurs. Is that how you see it?
Not really.
No. We're just funny. It's just laughing.
I'm not laughing.
I'm taking in your tears. That's all it is, really.
I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing because I like. Sorry, Terry. This is no dig on you, but I love KJ. He's just one of the nicest guys in the whole wide world. And Terry, obviously, you're my mate, and I like laughing at you a little bit. But I know what it's like to see your team and United were the most dysfunctional team. I'm not taking anything away from Spurs because I thought we were excellent today. Brennan Johnson's got so much hate over the last few weeks, and he's proving him well 4-4 now. Solanke's 3-3. We looked organised. You know, I've had my doubts about Ange this season, and I think it's proof today. These players are really playing for the manager. I don't. It's just not me to sit here and really give it, because I don't see the point. And at the end of the day, football's a giant circle, and we've all been there. We get more downs than ups as Tottenham fans. I see that Arsenal fan asking about us swapping the seasons for trophies. They'd probably swap the season as well. They haven't won nothing, so I don't know what they're giving it large for. But anyway, I just think, it can't. I really had high hopes for Man United this season. I thought things were turning around. I don't know what's going on with Ten Hag, but for today, it's all about us. It was a great win. We deserve a bit of happiness as Spurs fans, and it was just a brilliant performance, and I'm absolutely delighted.
And you should be, because again, Man United were dysfunctional and poor, but you still have to capitalize upon that, and you did. There were some real standout. I was just going to mute people that got noisy backgrounds while you're not talking. Sorry, guys. Standout performers, the likes of Mickey van der Ven. I thought, again, Brennan Johnson it may just be a purple patch, but he looks like he's turned a corner. Solanke, to all you Spurs fans who said, why have we wasted £60 million on him? I will say it, you man don't know ball. The guy holds the play out well. He's technically gifted, and he scores. I actually think 60 million for a goal scorer in 2024 is relatively cheap. It's about half to a third of the price that the top strikers in the world go for. And I think you're starting to see that from him today. It's just it's a good thing for Man United that a lot of your chances fell to Timo Werner and not to Solanke, because it would have been 5-6-7-0 in that regard. Staffy, what are you saying, bro?
Why am I the only? Well, KJ works here. You work here. Why am I the only United fan here?
All right, you don't want to speak. Can I speak then?
I'm speaking. Don't you hear me talking?
All right, go on.
So excited. I understand you don't win a lot, but give it a second.
Eager, man.
Calm, Staffy. Calm. I know you're angry.
I'm not even mad at you guys. I'm not even mad at you guys, because how many times on this platform I get accused of being a Spurs twerker? What happened today? We twerked all over Spurs. We give them a little toppy after that. It wasn't even a twerk anymore. At home. Now you're laughing, but it's true, bro. Where is everyone? I shouldn't be here to represent this shit on my own. I wake up to a tweet from Terry saying, Staffy got the lineup right. I was like, no. And I look at it, and I'm like, yes, he went for the same thing he did against Liverpool. Every time this guy faces adversity, he just wants to play counter-attacking football. He doesn't fancy himself to play possession football against Ange. And he's at home. You're at home. How could you be scared of another manager? No, I like Ange, by the way. And I've been a big advocate of Spurs, but you shouldn't be scared of Spurs at home. You should have some self-respect at home and try to play ball against them. And his plan was out the window in 2 minutes. Do you understand how incompetent of a manager you have to be for your plan to be gone in 2 minutes? Because we can see it in 2 minutes. We got bopped off the pitch by Spurs. We had no answers. Ange schooled Ten Hag again. And before you guys say we finally beat a big team, I'm going to remind you guys, the last time you beat a big team was us, and we're not a big team. Today, you didn't beat a big team. If you want to beat a big team, you got to go play a City, a Liverpool, or an Arsenal. We're not a big team, and we don't have a big manager. Steve Cooper would have managed a better game today than this guy. And this guy's and Steve Cooper is absolutely shambolic. He got absolutely schooled by Ange today. I don't even have to come here and praise Spurs, because Spurs didn't even try to do anything too complicated. They didn't even have Son on the pitch today. If it wasn't for Timo Werner, we would have lost like 5 or 6 today. All they did is just press, win the ball, make basic passes. Oh, we're in the box. How is that easy? That fucking video you put on Instagram, Terry, and I'm sorry for cussing. I'm just so sick of this. The video that you put after the FC20 rant. Sometimes I like to go and see what are the people saying in the comments. Everyone's like, how is this goal a coaching issue? It was an individual issue. So how did we concede it again today? How did Van de Ven pick up the ball from his half, run all the way to our box again? Why does it every time someone picks up the ball in the opposition's half, I see them directly going at my center backs? What is the shield before them? Where is the midfield? Why do I never see my midfield actually defending before the ball goes to the back line? And people today are saying, you even texted me today, and I didn't hear your voice note yet because I was live. And you were asking me, what happened to the low? What happened to the whole back line? Today's Mazraoui's worst game. Dallo, shocking. De Ligt, shocking. Martinez, shocking. Is it a coincidence that my whole back four was shocking today? No. Go look at every time they receive the ball. Who are they passing the ball to? Connor, what's his name? Gallagher in the midfield. We got a bum for 50 million in the midfield. And I said, let's go get someone who can pass the fucking ball. Spurs' whole midfield today is good on the ball. We have only one player that can play on the ball, and Kobe Mainoo. And I said that was good. I said that was gonna be the last nail in my coffin. If this guy gets ran to the ground, I'm gonna unleash on everyone. And he got fucking injured today with his hamstring because we got bums who's saying, oh, he should be playing the way he does. When you did that show, and Griggs was saying we're treating him like Kante, and you had Nate G coming at him, who absolutely has no fucking clue what he's talking about, saying, oh, we should be, oh, but how do you know what his position is? Just look at how he's been used elsewhere. He goes to England, he doesn't get engaged in any duels. Today he's running all over the pitch and does his hamstring, and it's in September. And you get people now that are Ten Hag in there saying, oh, but we're playing 3 games a week. It's the first time we play 3 in a week. That one against Barnsley doesn't count. We played the whole bench. It's September and people are talking about fatigue. And then they're going to go back to the injuries. This is going to be the next one. This is why I'm done with these guys. I'm not even going to say Ten Hag when I'm done with this. Ten Hag in. I want more letters. Please write me more letters now. I want more letters because I need more of this. What is it? Every time I come out here, I count the game. What is it? 34 now? We got 34 more games left. You can't quit now. All these players all these fans that left the stadium early today, no. Come back, sit your ass on that seat, sit in the rain, and watch the remaining 34 games. I need you to watch every game because you're the reason we're into this. Because when everyone was moving on, Chelsea was moving on, Spurs was moving on, and everyone's moving on, we were sticking this bum because they wanted to write letters. They deserve that. Ten Hag in. I hope he stays, and I hope this team stays shit as they are because they're the reason we're in this shit. And
Can I just ask a question, Staffy?
No question, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I'm done with
this. No,
this.
because what you're basically saying right now.
Oh.
His head's gone. No, Terry, I need to just. What I wanted to get out there was he'd rather be right than his team get better.
Well, look,
it's not.
I know it's coming across that way. It's more. He's basically saying everyone who wanted this manager to stay, he doesn't want Ten Hag to stay. Literally, he wants him to stay for those people to feel the pain. In reality, he wants him gone as an example. And look, there's so much of what Staffy said, which is right. The only thing I don't like about what Staffy says, and I wish he was here to answer this, is I get Ugarte looked poor today, but so do our technical players invariably look poor as well. And that is why I'm still seething at all Man United fans who keep singling out individual players when it's a system issue, because it doesn't matter who plays, who's suspended. Like Bruno's going to be out, and everyone that hates Bruno is literally going to get their wank sock out. Oh yes, Bruno's gone. And we will be the same without him. And then he'll come back and we'll score a goal. Like he'll create a goal, and his fanboys go, see, that's why we miss him. The stuff we argue over as Man United fans is so almost superficial, and we ignore for years, I used to scream till my voice was gone. It's nothing to do with the players and managers. We've got no structure running the club. We've kind of fixed that. Now you have to fix and get the right head coach to create structure on the pitch. Then you start focusing on that player ain't quite good enough. He isn't good enough. Let's move them on in transfer windows. But Man United fans, they want to sort of do it all arse about tit. It's all backwards with the way we do things. They want to build the team, then find the manager, and then do the structure of the football club. Brandon, why are you saying no? That's what they want.
You're on mute.
Talk then.
I don't think he's got anything to say.
Wait,
that man's on a serious delay, bruv.
Hey, was you asking me something, Phil?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm going to take my Arsenal off for a moment, right?
Go on.
As a football fan in general, it is actually quite saddening to see what's happening to Manchester United. It's quite saddening to see what the fans also think as well. Terry, you're sitting there saying that the structure at Manchester United has changed. I don't think it has, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. I think the only thing that has changed is the face. That's it. And I can point to examples as well as to why I don't think Ineos has changed anything to do with the structure at Man United. The obvious one is.
I don't want to cut you short. I don't want to cut you short because there's a match reaction. I don't want to get too deep into this. Because I want to get to the Spurs guys about their team. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, of course, bro. And look, I'm going to talk about the game as well. But let's just with the Ineos thing, right? This is where I say that they're just the face now. I don't think they've actually changed anything at Man United. The obvious one is they could have sacked Ten Hag in the summer. They chose not to, right? I don't know when it's ever been enough for a manager to win an FA Cup at Manchester United and keep their job. You know, Louis van Gaal won the FA Cup. He didn't keep his job. Jose Mourinho won 2 trophies at United in his first season. He didn't keep his job. Yeah, okay, there's various different reasons for that. But it's never been enough for Man United to win, let's just say, one of the smaller trophies and be able to keep their job. That's number one. The other reason why I say I don't think the structure has changed is because if that was true, then they wouldn't have gone in the summer and brought another 2 former Ajax players that was managed by Ten Hag at Ajax in De Ligt and Mazraoui. And then also adding on top of that, Joshua Zirkzee, who, okay, he's a young up-and-coming player, but at the same time comes from the Eredivisie, right? What I'm trying to point out is all your players that you've recruited that have come from that league or played in that league haven't exactly torn up trees anyway. So the fact that Ineos went out and bought players from that division or former players of Erik ten Hag also shows me that the structure hasn't changed. The only thing that has changed is the face. And the Glazers.
No, I need to stop you, man. I need to stop you because one, that is nonsense. It's not, bro. It's nonsense. No, it's nonsense. I'm not
It's
listening.
not nonsense.
I respect you. No, I respect you, Brandon, but I'm not listening to nonsense no more. Because I normally let people just say what I want to say. It is nonsense. You know why it's nonsense? Because one, we bought in Wilcox, we bought in Barada, we bought in Ashworth. That's already changed. Okay, we've got to remember they've just come in a couple of months ago. Not even a full summers that they've been here. You know, so for people to say nothing's changed when just because they can't see what's happening, I can't sit there and listen. Yeah, cool. They bought players from the Eredivisie. Yeah, cool. They've got players that worked with Ten Hag before, but guess what? They've got players who are technically better than the players that we've got on the ball. They've also went and got Ugarte. They also went and got Xerxes, who never played for Ten Hag. At the end of the day, let's not talk about the structure because the structure ain't the issue today. Today ain't the issue.
And just to add on that, because I don't want to dwell on it too long, but on top of that, Brandon, I get your point, right? We ain't not seen the fruits of their labor yet, but it was always going to take, even if we were playing better football right now, it is still 3 to 4 years to get us back to the top. When we say nothing's changed, you know, the Glazers didn't put a single penny of their own money into the football club in 17 years. These guys have, with their own cash, paid off £200 million already, and they're about to invest over £2 billion towards a new 100,000-seater stadium. To say nothing whatsoever has started to change, for me, that's just too big a gap. The mistake they have made, and I think it's fair cop, is they shouldn't have stuck with this manager, and I don't think anybody would argue. However, to sit there and say nothing's changed, my honest opinion is go read more Man United articles, go and do more research because a lot has changed. But I don't want to. I honestly haven't got the time because I've only got 15 minutes left. I can't spend more on the Ineos structure, arguing whether or not they've changed. In terms of the game today, Dizzy, what did you make of Tottenham? You're on mute.
Oh, that's good.
This all right, Kate. No, but this is the Tottenham I want to see week in, week out. Against Quarterback, I came on and KJ asked me what was I thinking for the Man United game, and I told him it depends which Tottenham turns up. This is the Tottenham that when they turn up, we don't lose. We do not lose. High pressure. Man United couldn't cope with it. Yes, I agree that it's a problem, and Manchester United are terrible. And I kind of expected for them to be like sloppy like that on the ball and for us to take advantage of that and take space. But I think a lot of credit has to go to Tottenham. And I understand the attention is going to go mainly to Man United because they're a bigger club. And like the problems that they have past the team is going to be like the main focus and the ownership and the manager and all that. But I think a lot of praise should be given to Ange Postecoglou and these players and the way they set up in this game. Another thing, Brennan Johnson, this guy, we all criticized him. But this guy has come on and he has completely changed this game. I don't know what it is. I'm going to quote the great expressions. He deactivated his IG account and activated himself on the pitch. I ain't seen nothing like this. It's crazy. It's like a whole different player. It's like a whole different player. I even saw him take on a man today. I've never seen Brendan Johnson take on a man today. I saw that today. I saw him take on a man. That's what I want to see from him. That's what I want to see from you. You can keep your IG account open. I don't really care about all that extra stuff, but I want to see you take on your man as a winger, get in behind, get into spaces, score goals. Mickey van de Ven, this guy is insane. I said it a couple weeks ago that there's not another defender in the world that can do what he does. And a lot of people got onto me, but it's the truth. We play a high line. The fact that with his speed, he could always track back. Man United had a couple of chances that they could have gone loose. And you just see Garnacho running with the ball. And then out of nowhere, Van de Ven just comes in and takes the ball from him. And you're like, where did he come from? The speed this guy possesses is not normal. It is not normal. The other thing, Mikey Moore. What a player. What a player this guy's going to be. The only thing that could have made this game any better was if that shot would have banged top bin. If that shot would have gone top bins, perfect 10 out of 10 performance from everything. Everything is 10 out of 10 from this game. But this is Tottenham without Son. Imagine how good we could be with Son, with Bissouma in this team. Imagine how good we can be. It's just this has to be the Tottenham that turns up week in, week out. Man, it's scary for other teams.
George, do you echo what young Daniel said there?
Nah, most definitely. And in what Deji's words would have been, because I know he didn't get a chance to say, but it was most definitely domination in the location. At Old Trafford today, it was licks, man. As I told KJ and I warned him in the car bag pre-match when we spoke about it after the game, Manchester United just have too many problems. They made it too easy for us. As much as I'd like to say Tottenham were amazing today, if this was any other game, we would probably be ruined the fact that we didn't finish our chances. Solanke could have had 2. Johnson could have scored another one. Werner could have scored 2. Maddison, we had so many chances in front of goal, still managed to score 3, keep a clean sheet. And Terry, I told you on the top 6 the other day, there's one denominator in that midfield always causing an issue. And yet again today, Bruno, red card. Yeah, it's debatable. Some people are saying it might not be a red card and so on, but when I look at that midfield, the problem that I see is you got 2 players sitting deep and you got one guy that's just chasing the ball, running up ahead. There's no structure. As you said, Tottenham glided through the midfield. Kulusevski was all over the pitch. It was so easy for us today. For me, I have to look at Bruno and say, bro, that's your captain. I need to see more. You need to see better. He's been terrible this season.
So I think he has been. Hang on, can I just stop you a second? So we know he's been bad on the ball. So you think it's Bruno who messes up Ten Hag's system and leaves the holes in midfield?
No, I do. I think Bruno plays into that fact. I think he doesn't help the structure, but I think of course you have to look at the manager and say the structure's not been there for over a year. I've sat there and said Manchester United don't have a midfield. There is no midfield structure. The players are sort of just floating in and around the pitch in positions that they want to take up. And as we're starting to see, as Staffy highlighted, you're starting to see the worst of Kobbie Mainoo right now. Kobbie Mainoo is looking really underwhelming. Whenever he's on the ball, there's not much options in front of him. Doesn't really have anyone to pass to. And to be honest, you guys were playing like old school West Ham today. I don't know. You got the ball and you're just hoofing it forward, trying to play the channels.
Again, listen, I'm not defending Bruno Fernandes individually. I'm using this is universally across everyone. The last 2 games he missed for Man United when we were playing poorly were Arsenal at the end of last season where we lost 1-0 and when we got battered 4-0 by Crystal Palace, as an example. Man, the problem is with your take, and maybe it's because you don't watch as many Man United games as I do. I am not defending Bruno. He shouldn't have started today. I've been calling for him to be dropped. It doesn't matter whether Bruno misses the game, Casemiro's out of the game. Doesn't matter if we've got the fully fit squad. And the great acid test, we've got pretty much a fully fit squad. And we're as bad as last season when we had 15 players out. The system is our issue. We're worse than last season. You're right. The system is our issue. This is why as a Man United fan, I find it really hard to be overly critical of our players because the technically gifted guys look awful on the ball. So if I'm seeing a player like Delo on the ball look awful, how can I start turning around to the less gifted guys and go, well, yeah, you're the problem because you're less... It doesn't make sense to me. For me, the structural issues we have are absolutely abysmal. And until they're fixed, we're not a conducive environment to genuinely start nitpicking. Everyone will have a preference of who's good and who's bad. And today, if you love Delo, you'll probably leave him alone. If you hate Bruno, you'll probably blame him. For me, I'm looking solely at the root cause problem of our issues on the football pitch right now. And that's our manager and his setup. However, you're right on Bruno. He absolutely shouldn't have started the game. And look, he got a red card. I thought it's one of those red cards. If it was the other way around, you guys would began mental saying the studs were facing the other way. It was his ankle that kind of hit the shin. But it is what it is. He misses some games now. Now we will really see whether Bruno Fernandes is a problem or not.
It's never a red card. I'm telling you, if we're sending players off for that now, the game's gone. I'm sorry. And this is coming from a
players have been sent off for that all season and last year.
That's how it's always been.
Absolute rubbish how you can be sending players off for that. He clearly slips, yeah? He dangles out a lazy leg. Let's just call it that, right? He doesn't intentionally go in to hurt James Maddison. He slips. He dangles out a lazy leg. Doesn't even catch him with the studs, and it's a straight red card. What a load of rubbish! Yeah, bin all these referees because they're absolutely shocking. VAR should have overturned that, to be honest with you.
No, here's the problem. VAR is no longer fit for purpose because before it used to help, like, change the game and make mistakes not happen. Now it's here just to justify whatever decision the ref makes. When's the last time we've seen VAR actually say, mate, I think you've got a decision wrong there, go check that?
Yeah.
When's the last time we've seen them go to the screen?
It's just frustrating when this decision happened. We were playing badly, but it was 1-0. I'd have almost personally liked you guys to have been 4-0 up when it happened, because then no one could try and twist it into, oh, you're saying you would have won if it was 11v11, because we get too tribalistic. You know when you see those tackles where players' balls roll over the ball, and every time you watch Harold Webb talk about it, or an ex-referee, they turn around and go, well, because his studs have hit the player, or the studs are facing, that's why it's a red card. And then you see a real yellow card that's similar, but they go, yeah, but he didn't make contact with the studs. He didn't quite touch the player, and they justify why it hasn't been given. It was high, there's no doubt about it, but it was a flick with the outside of the foot. I have never seen, and if somebody can show me at least 3 other examples in Premier League history where the side of a foot has hit someone's shin from a non-lunging position, I'll pay them £1,000.
But Terry,
You know what?
It's crazy. So for me, I understand why it was given, but for me, if it was Solanke that got done for that today, you'd all be getting mental. You'd all be saying,
Terry, do you think sometimes it's the player's reputation precedes the card? Because Romero would get sent off for that.
No, I agree. I agree. But again, that's us as fans. The referee shouldn't be assessing, and we've already seen that. I've seen Casemiro slide tackle, win the ball. It's not his fault. His foot rolls over it, and he's caught someone's shin and get red cards. I've seen multiple other players do the exact same thing and not get booked. Listen, Trossard should have been sent off last week the way he kicked the ball away. We have all seen the examples all weekend of players flicking balls away, jumping in front of free kicks and throw-ins, and no one's been booked. I guarantee you Arsenal will get done for it again in a few weeks where someone has a misjudgment, doesn't make it right, ref goes, bang. No, I do agree with you. However, what I will say about the red card, it would have changed absolutely nothing about the game. Spurs would have still won, in my personal opinion. Rhino, what you saying, bruv?
Listen, I said it last throw. It's the hope that kills you. There's nothing new that we're seeing today. And as I said in the group chat, I feel like these players, I do management, innit? I manage artists. I've got a team. I've got influencers. I've got loads of different moving parts of my team. And one thing about management is trust. You know, people trusted Fergie. People trusted Wenger. People trust Pep. So when you make rash choices like, let's say, dropping Ronaldo, you won't complain because the person believes in where you're going with it. Do you get what I'm saying? When you don't trust the manager, you start to criticize and you start to want to rebuttal all the time. Fair enough, there's going to be certain times where, as players, you can complain. But generally, when you trust the manager, you don't care whether you're getting dropped or not. You just play. You believe in the vision. These players have lost trust. They've lost direction. There's nothing. I don't want to hear nothing about Bruno's red card. I don't want to hear nothing about injuries. I don't want to hear nothing about any player. Casemiro, Ugarte. I don't want to hear nothing. This is on the direction and the ethos at this club. There's no structure at this club in terms of on the pitch. This manager doesn't know who to pick. He doesn't know how to identify profiles. He doesn't put players in the right places. It's all gone to shits. So what I'm trying to say is, right now, the players, when you have lack of trust of a manager, there's going to be inconsistencies. Certain days you all play, you know what, it works out. Maybe the opposition's bad. Then other days you're going to see the real truth. When you're playing freestyle football, there's no consistency. There's no kind of linear progress. So of course you're going to have games like this. This kind of game was waiting to happen. So
freestyle though, bro. That's the thing. I don't think people understand. It's not freestyle football because there's no free flowing about. There's no free flowing.
No, but the context of freestyle football is. I mean, let me explain what I mean. I mean it as in it's like 10 random players just playing. Yeah, come, let's go and have a kick about.
Rhino, I make you right. I make you right because the way we set up in and out of possession against Palace, we didn't do against FC 20 or Spurs today.
Yeah,
and for me, I said before, when it comes to our attacking patterns, I don't want them to be so repetitive. Everybody knows what we're going to do. That's weird to me. But structure in a Pep Guardiola's team, whenever they lose the ball, you know what's happening within seconds. Arsenal do it impeccably.
Arsenal do it good, yeah.
It's like, do you remember playing run-outs as a kid? It's like, boom, everyone's gone.
Yeah,
That's how they are. It's like people playing run-outs. It's bang, let's get to our positions instantly. They know when a player loses the ball in the Arsenal team, in the Liverpool team, in the City team, they are straight back into their position. And do you know the bit that gets to me the most, Rhino, is that against City in the Community Shield, large parts against Fulham, we saw it in the second half against Southampton, against Palace. We have seen moments where he's instructed them right, and it's working.
Yeah.
And the bit that gets to me is the next game, he is telling them to do something different. And that is for me why the players are looking confused. It's why they don't want it.
They've lost belief.
And do you know what it is?
Yeah.
There are players in this squad that over the next 2 or 3 years I want gone. But I'm at a stage, maybe it's 11 years of this, I can't blame players anymore. It doesn't matter who we buy, they end up being crap. Because we still haven't got it right yet. Doesn't matter who we sell, they invariably leave and look really fucking good. Do you know what I'm saying? And that is going to continue until we get the right head coach in now. And that's the only thing I've been critical of Ineos so far. And tonight they've got to act. I mean, do you agree? Is that it now? Can you even comprehend what their rationale would be for keeping him any longer?
This is what's going to be interesting because for me, like they've done well since they've come in. We can argue about them keeping Ten Hag in the first place, but yeah, it's on them now. They need to identify what's happening and make a change ASAP. I would hope that they have some sort of plan behind it and not make a rash decision. But I feel like since they extended Ten Hag's contract, they're monitoring every game closely, and they're probably going to see, okay, you know what? At this point, we need to start, maybe integrating Rude or somehow they need to start a process basically. And I'm just hoping that hopefully they have a plan to kind of get him out. And the reason why they kept him maybe might save money in the long run for when they do sack him somehow within the contract.
Rhino, I don't know about you, but I'm personally like the max leeway I have with Ineos with this decision personally, not everything else, but this decision personally is international break. 2 games, that's 2 games.
Yeah.
If by those 2 games, this man is not gone for this decision, I'm going to look at them differently and be like, what are you?
Yeah, I'm not saying I've got a 3-strike rule with them. I feel that's too, that's too sort of, is arbitrary the right word? I don't know. It just seems a bit childish. But for me, it is something that's going to damage my trust in them because we can all see it isn't working. There's a comment here as well that says you've been sacking managers and no players for the last 10 years. But this is, Alvaro, this is where your point is correct, but you're removing the context. Before our club, every new manager, we were building the club, the team, everything in his image. We're now doing it differently. So you can't look at those previous sackings of managers and think nothing else is going to change. I know Brandon says nothing is changing, but the thing is, this is when you'll see. And this is almost why I want to see it happen. It's an opportunity, and it's one that I didn't want to happen. I didn't want us to lose these games, but it's now an acid test. Let's see what happens, and we don't have to wait till the international break. Sorry, go on, Brandon.
Can't say that they're not building a team in the manager's image. They signed 3 more players from the Eredivisie, 2 players that were previously.
What 3
I
players?
think it's the profile, Brandon.
What 3 players from the Eredivisie?
So they signed De Ligt, who previously worked under Ten Hag when he was at Ajax. They signed Mazraoui, who previously worked with Ten Hag when he was at Ajax, and they signed Joshua Zirkzee. Joshua Zirkzee,
but Zirkzee never played in the Eredivisie.
I understand.
Bologna, isn't it?
You can put the Zirkzee one to one side, right? Because he's a young up and coming player.
What about Euro?
However, that's 2 more players that worked under this manager. You can't sit there and say they're not building the team under his image. Of course they are.
Hang on. Sorry, KJ. No, but listen, I understand. Hang on, Brandon. Let me respond, please. I know you got a delay. No, Brandon. Let me respond to it. Okay. So I understand your point, and how we're going to know if you're right is if and when a new manager comes in, if he suddenly starts, if suddenly De Ligt, that we can clearly see is part of the first team plans, is suddenly not playing anymore. Mazraoui's on the bench. Zirkzee's then suddenly dropped. And if suddenly the new guy comes in and it's 5 or 6 different players that are in the starting lineup, different formation, different brand of whatever it was that Ten Hag is trying to create, and none of us can really name what he's trying to do, then I'm going to look at it and be a little bit concerned if it doesn't work. What we don't know yet and this is where I think I'm reserving judgment, is we don't know, because they're not going to tell you or me or the media exactly what they want as a football club. They're not going to tell you the intricacies of their plan. So the thing with Maswari and De Ligt, yes, they've already got a connection to Erik Ten Hag, but we need to know, I've said all along, I don't really care if we want to build it in Ten Hag's image. All it is that after Ten Hag leaves, it needs to be a manager that can also work with that profile of player, the same as Slot has done with Liverpool. He has come in and he knows how to manage that profile of player. As long as we're doing that, we're fine as a football club. Again, I get your point. You don't think we've changed. The reason I don't want to labor over the argument, and I'm sorry to be rude, is that we don't know until we know. I can't prove I'm right. You can't prove you're right until a manager or two's time. So it just becomes a point. You've said your bit. I've said my bit. There's nothing more we can say.
Well, one more thing. Let me just ask you. Let me ask you in a different way, then, Tal. Right?
Go on.
Let's say Ineos did sack Ten Hag in the summer, and you had a different manager in charge of the football club right now, Ruud van Nistelrooy, whoever, right? Yeah. Do you still believe that Manchester United would have went out and signed De Ligt and Mazraoui? Because I don't.
Yes, so I do, because they've been. It's been reported and been shown that these are the players that fit the profile. We wanted the profile. We've been scouting De Ligt since Ajax anyway. So this ain't like a new club target. We've been wanting this brother anyway. We've been wanting players who are technically better than what we've got now. And guess what? We signed.
KJ, to add to what you just said as well, I think what they've done is they've met Ten Hag halfway. They've said, okay, you know what? Cool. Let's get someone maybe Dutch or whatever, but we're going to pick the profile of it. Maybe we don't know. Maybe they met him.
And also, Lenny Yoro got signed.
So Brandon,
and that protects us moving forward as well.
What was put out by the football club is that the club will pick the manager, whoever the head coach is will get to say, I need a new centre-back. The club will pick a short list of players, and then the manager gets to pick from that list.
From that choice,
so there is an element where the manager's involved, but the club still has to put that list together. So, and by the way, that is not what we were doing before. So when we say things haven't changed, they have. Now, by the way, that's still what the good thing about that is that there is still an onus and a responsibility upon the head coach where you can hold them accountable. It isn't as simple as just he has no idea. He turns, Ten Hag isn't going to turn up to training on Monday. Fucking hell, there's two players. I didn't know they were coming in. He's going to be involved. But I don't want to labor. I don't want to labor over that too much because I don't think what else is there to say on it?
Last point. I just find it confusing still how your football club would go and do that, considering Ten Hag's already got Eriksen, Anthony, Onana, Martinez, who are all players who work.
So this is why though.
Who are all players.
I can answer your question. It's not about the manager. So hang on a minute. It's not about. Let me just answer the question. It's not about the manager. I get your question, Brandon. You're asking why would they let him pick players when he's already signed other players that have been shit. I get it, but the point is they have. Okay, so mate, honestly, I did say to KJ before the show, I don't want the match reactions to be about the bigger macro issues. I want to focus on the game more. But go on, ask your question.
Finish the question. Right, so I just find it confusing how you'd go and sign them two players who worked underneath him when he's already got Anthony there. He's already got Martinez there, Onana there, and Eriksen there, who also previously worked underneath him. However, he is not getting the best out of them players.
Okay, great. So again, I get your point. Exactly what I just repeated back to you is what you said. So I understand that. The difference is now is that Ineos believe they are creating a threshold where the profile of player they're putting on the list doesn't really matter which one the manager picks. They're all good enough for us. He just gets to have an input in that regard. So it is different. Equally, if you're going to give a manager a chance, you can't cut his legs from underneath him. If I give you a chance to come and work for the Football Terrace, but I'm not sure if you're good enough, how stupid of me as the owner of the Football Terrace would it be to ensure that you're set up to fail by not giving you players and not trying to improve your team? I've got to give you every opportunity to be better. It would be I'd be more rank. Imagine Ineos said, yeah, we gave Ten Hag an extra go, but what we decided to do was give him no players. That would be a lot worse than giving him all the tools to try and succeed. This is why I think even some of the biggest Ten Hag inners of last season have looked at it and gone, do you know what? He's had the structure this summer. He has praised how much more calm and how well run things are. We know the technical floor of players has gone up and we still haven't improved. In fact, we've got worse. It singles out the head coach as a much bigger issue. than when you don't have all those other concerns and problems. As what I would say, Brandon, is genuinely, bruv, read the. I'll try and find some for you. Read them thoroughly. Some of them are pages and pages long. They go into this in so much intricate detail. I think it would open your eyes to a lot of it. I want to go to Mo, but I'm running out of time, and I've got so many super chats. First one says, I'm an echo of what Staffy said. Griggs talk about the way they were using Mainoo. He could get seriously hurt and did, unfortunately. I didn't realize he got an injury. I didn't hear that bit, but Sunshine wanted to belittle him and said he didn't know shit. Look, I actually still think that part of the conversation was two people not really understanding each other. One saying, I don't want him playing like Antano. I get what Griggs meant by he didn't want Mainoo playing like Kante. I still think Sunshine heard it as, why wouldn't you want a player to perform to the levels and consistency of Kante? But I hear you. Absolute disgrace of a manager. He knew since the first 2 games 2 years ago that he couldn't play his system, and it's been freestyle bullshit football since. He's more clueless than Ollie. Get him out. Terry, living in delusional world. What's the difference between Ineos buying Euro and the Glazers buying Martial back in 2015? Same shit, new faces.
What? Oh, next super chat, man. That's foolishness. That is foolish. If you don't know the difference, then that's
but this is like everything. If you look at Man City, if you look at all the clubs that are doing very well right now and look at them a year, 2 years into their start of their rebuilds, none of them are the teams they are now at their peak. Like, this is why you like imagine you were judging Man City's owners by what they were doing in their first season, their second season, their third season. You have to give it time when you've been in the doldrums like we have. Anyone who thought, and this is one thing, so Jim said it, anyone who thought we were going to turn it round one summer, you don't realize how bad Man United were. Terry, I don't like what our manager and players are doing to the fans. I just watched Saeed's reaction video and I think he went too far. I don't know what he said. I think he wants to hurt Goldbridge, Bruno, and I can't speak on that because I haven't watched it. But all I will say is this: Saeed isn't the reason that Man United are in a bad situation. Mark Goldbridge isn't the reason that Man United are in a bad situation. I'm not the issue. KJ Rhino, no YouTuber is the reason that Man United are in the mud. The same as AFTV weren't. You know, it's like Arsenal were quite good. And AFTV is suddenly, remember when people were blaming AFTV for why Arsenal were bad? It's all a load of nonsense. I don't know what Saeed said. Big up Saeed, big up Goldbridge, big up the fan channel community. You don't have to like each other, but I mean, this is on nobody, by the way. This is on, and even by the way, even if it is because the top Reds emailed in, well, it's still the decision maker's decision to make, isn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's still on the key decision makers. Whoever decided to sign Mason Mount for 60 million and give him 300k a week needs a pay rise. Fuck you. Skip Stud's slide tackle on Nelly yesterday was more of a red, but the letter of the law, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, by the way, yeah, all those ones are worse when the studs come down on top of someone's foot and they're just yellows. I totally, no one's going to get that.
That's not a record.
Yeah, it isn't. I would look at it this way. No one's ever having their leg broke or getting hurt with that tackle today, ever. So, yeah, it's not a red card. Ten Hag inners, this is on you. You set your club backwards. Manchester United hasn't been at it for months. If us non-Man United fans can see the shit, why can't these guys? I hear you, bro. I hear you.
You called him 1D Ange. That's a hilarious slander name. 1D Ange, I like that.
We got Barada and whoever, that's fine. But imagine Barada going to Khaldoon and going to the Glazers and Ineos to ask for their decisions. Well, he doesn't have to go to the Glazers. So in part of the deal, again, people have to read more before they make these comments. Full control is under Ineos of the footballing decisions. It's in the shareholder agreement. The Glazers have no say in that part of the football club. So he doesn't have to go to them. And again, people saying they've been there since February. All the people actually running it day to day didn't get here until halfway through the transfer window. So again, it's one of those things. Do your research, people. Don't care if we won 6-0 or come back to 4-3. He can't do this anymore. Phenomenal results and performance to the rest of them.
You can start Werner again. You can start
Werner. Werner was.
Yeah, I was saying Werner. I missed that bit. Yeah, Werner was giving me a little bit of hope. I was like, if he keeps missing and we nick one back, It would have been a really interesting game because Spurs are Spursy. If we would have nicked a goal in the 70-odd minute when we were attacking, I was so intrigued to see what would happen. But then there's part of me going, but do I really want that? Because again, that could paper over cracks. And we don't need any more of that.
Terry, we let Werner and Johnson dunk on us today.
Oh, bro. I'm not even being rude to Tottenham fans here. I know a lot watch it. But on a level, them doing olays at Old Trafford, I've never been so embarrassed.
No, the most embarrassing thing was I saw Christian Romero do not scissor kicks in my box.
Sit in the box.
No, it's finished.
Yeah, but that's your level. That's what you don't understand, guys. That's where you are now.
No. We understand that. We are crap.
Yeah.
We know we're crap.
I literally I recorded a small video, and one of the things I said is that Spurs won 3-0 at Old Trafford with Brennan Johnson and Timo Werner on the wings. If you deep that statement, you will know. Bro, Spurs are not great. They aren't.
No, I agree. No, I agree. But it's like, I feel like if I say it, Brandon, your Wi-Fi is so bad, you're so behind us, you start talking 20 seconds after we're finished.
Sorry. Imagine as well, Spurs, this is a team that could not buy a clean sheet. Yeah, that's the most embarrassing thing. They could not buy a clean sheet, and Man United handed one.
I know.
After the Superchats, I gotta have a big say about the game, to be honest. After the Superchats.
Okay, let me try and get through these because there are quite a few of them. I'm guessing Spurs won, seeing certain man here. Watching United fans ask Spurs players on the bench for selfies at the end of the match just shows how much of an embarrassment the club is. It is, but again, this is where I will defend them. This is all players at all clubs are doing this. Like, it's not a Man United only thing. We see players swap shirts at half time and that these days. It's sickening. City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Arsenal have would put 7 past United tonight. Spurs are equally. Can you imagine what that Chelsea attack would do to us at the moment?
Sancho definitely bagging as well, and that would hurt.
Yeah. He can't play against us.
He can't play against us though. Yeah.
Oh, he's alone, isn't he? Yeah. Ooh, thank Lord.
You know it is bad when United are getting clowned by a brother dressed as Banana Man. Google the reference. I know exact. Big Irons doesn't like Banana Man. You know. That's a great cartoon in my heyday. Young Daniel should not be allowed on the panel till he honours. Yeah, in fairness, he's got to wear the Arsenal shirt on stream, Young Daniel, before he's allowed back on. We've got to get that sorted. Terry, I got into a bad car accident and wrecked my car last year, and I've been really depressed. And the Man United is making that depression worse. I love this club, but I need Ten Hag gone. Look, I'll say this to you: be angry about the game. Firstly, I hope you're okay. Be angry about the games and matches, but do not allow football to enter your personal life. It's something I care about. I love. It's so important to me. It's a hobby of mine, right? But like when I finish this, they're actually already going to bed, but I'll go and kiss the children goodnight. I'll take my dog for a walk. I'll speak to my friends. Like, don't let Man United make your mood worse in that way, my friend. It's one of the reasons why.
Andre, man.
Yeah, big fan of the terrace. I feel like Ruud was brought in as a replacement for Ten Hag because Ineos wanted rid but needed a plan. You can see the players respect Ruud. Look, I'm open to it being a big mistake from Ineos or being part of the plan. Again, I've worked in environments where sometimes you go in and you're told you've got to get rid of someone, but you also know that they've got a lot of influence over certain other people in teams, and you've got to give them a certain amount of time. Give them enough rope. The expression, give them enough rope to hang themselves, and then you're not the bad guys for moving on. This is why I implore Man United fans to keep your powder dry and hold your counsel when it comes to this rebuild. It was never going to be a quick fix. It was never going to be repaired overnight. Anyone who was pushing that notion is a mong, as far as I'm concerned, an absolute moron. Let's say fearmongerer, and they're morons. But there we go. Not you, Brandon, because you're not a Man United. I'm talking Man United fans who've read the stories and they're just fear mongering, right? And they're just they're mongerers, mate. They're absolute mongerers, all of them. It's always a plan of Ineos to keep Ten Hag and bring Van Nistelrooy because if needed, he is waiting. What would you say if the new manager succeeds with this team? I mean, there we go. I mean, this is I'll go yes. I'd say I would expect a competent head coach to make us top 4 contenders with this squad. This is the top 4 contending squad, so I absolutely would expect that. After all this, watch Spurs lose next week. This also could happen. McGinn sent off last year versus Spurs for the same thing. What, with the outside of his boot for a flick?
I'd have to watch that back. I don't remember that.
You know when people say these things, because someone earlier said to me it was the same as someone else's tackle, and I Googled it and I watched it and it was like studs right through someone's kneecap. And I'm like, how are you thinking that's the same? McGinn red card versus Spurs. Let me have a little look. I'll see if I can even see pictures. See, straight away, I'm looking at the picture. Let's have a look at the picture here. In fairness, there's no stud I can see. Was it second yellow or straight red? I'd have to watch it in real time. Pictures don't always do it justice, but there we go. Yeah, the pictures are not showing studs on the legs, so I have to go back and watch that. But that could be a great shout, Emily. Thank you. Where's Dev? Dev's out tonight, he said, and couldn't come on. Man United waste so much money. Why buy a PSG flop like Ugarte for 60 million? At least Casemiro came to your club after a fantastic year from Real Madrid. PSG wanted Ugarte out after 6 months. Look, that is a fair cop and a fair criticism, and we've got to wait to see. But until we have a competent system, I ain't blaming players. Mo, over to you, mate.
I don't know what some Man United fans, to be honest, wanted Ten Hag in. I don't know what they were saying. However, there are a couple of things in this game that we need to realize. Man United came to life in the second after the second goal. That means these players have life in them, right? And the problem is not only that. If you watch Lisandro fighting, if you watch De Ligt fighting, you know that they have pride. They want to play. The problem is in the beginning, there was no one on the pitch, which is, I am saying, it's Bruno Fernandes and it is Marcus Rashford. If your two biggest players on the pitch aren't playing with heart, and I know that people think that Bruno Fernandes is playing with heart. I can tell. I played football. I know a lot of you guys have played football. He plays for himself, not for the club, not for the shirt. It is very obvious. He plays for personal glory. I can tell. He plays for personal glory. He doesn't care. He's not a leader. He's one of the worst captains I've seen in my life. When he left the pitch, the players came to life. You can see the fight in some of the players. That is just an indication of how the leadership is on the pitch when he's on. It just shows you, right? 2-0 down, 10 men. They were first to every tackle in that. Yes, Spurs were complacent, but that shows me that Bruno Fernandes needs to go. He needs to go. He's not the leader at Man United. No matter how much you disagree with because of he's a good player, leadership is number one if you're a captain. Otherwise, like disarm him from the captain armband because he's not the leader, right? Number two, to be honest, Man United, again, if they don't, and I disagree with KJ here. You know, I come to the football terrace all the time and I say that Man United is not a big club. History cannot be erased. Trophies cannot be erased. But how you act is how I view as a football club. You lose at home, 3-0, no matter what the circumstances are, in the tunnel, the coach should be sacked. Especially if you are not fighting for the freaking league or the Champions League. You aren't, right? That happened against Bournemouth last season. You weren't fighting for anything. You had a horrendous season. And you knew at that time that the top four is between Aston Villa and Spurs. You weren't in the conversation. He should have been sacked. When you lost 7-0 to Liverpool, I know at that time you were third. That's 2 seasons ago. Maybe I can justify it. But 3-0 to Bournemouth at home in the tunnel should be sacked. I'm expecting this from my club, for every big club. Today, until this moment, someone tell me in the chat, is he sacked yet? If he isn't sacked, the board are not acting like they value Man United as a big club. They don't value the fans, right? The fans that pay their money to go to the stadium deserve better. And they aren't. That's why someone like me come here to the football terrace and tell Terry, you aren't a big club. Why? You aren't acting like one. You aren't telling the world you are a big club. You have the history. Leeds have the history. Everyone has the history. You make the money. You have the fan base. You have the history. But you aren't acting like a big club. And until you do this, right? Inter, we had 10 years, guys. 7 of them, we didn't make the Champions League. And we signed abundance of players. And we had Roberto Mancini, Gasperini, Mazzari. We changed coaches left and right. But until we changed how we think about the club, when Antonio Conte, and this is why I'm saying, Man United, it is not about the board. It's about one coach that come to the club and tell everyone at the club, there is only one winner of the Premier League and 19 losers. Antonio Conte came to the club when we scraped top 4 the season before. I know you can say the Premier League is harder, but also we were shit. And he said, I do not accept anything but winning. And by the way, he didn't have superstars. He spent some money, but he engraved something at the club that Inter are a big club. Anything less than winning the league is wrong. He didn't win it the first year, but he came second. And the year after, he won it. Why? Big players wanted to play for him. That is how Man United to be fixed. It's not about only the board. If you hire Rude, if you get someone upcoming manager, it is still going to be the same because I've been there. We hired Rafa Benitez. You need someone to take Man United back to that mentality. It's either you're a winner or you're a loser. There is no second option. There is no we played well. This played well thing and saved our faces is wrong. People need to understand this. You're a big club only by name. But on the pitch, if players now say that we give all, that is wrong. If Ten Hag loses games and hang it on a referee, that is wrong. The board should tell the coach, do not say that to the press. You shouldn't be saying that. This is Manchester United. You do not say referees.
Mo, can I just interject for a second? I think a lot of what you said holds water. Where I slightly disagree on a few things is I don't think it's as simple as just going to get a winning manager and Man United are going to click back into gear. And you have to have the attitude you've pointed out, but it's going to take time. One, there's 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that are better than us right now. And even if we improve, we can still be 5th in the league, right? So I think you have to factor in that. Secondly, sometimes managers do have to do that. Fergie was a master at deflecting attention away from his team by blaming a referee or starting a fight with someone. So I don't think there should be a blanket rule of never blame a referee, never start an argument or a fight. But outside of that, I agree with your points that this for me is a chance. I think Ineos now have a brilliant chance. It's one we didn't want. And I don't know if KJ and Rhino agree with me. We didn't want this to happen, but it's a great opportunity for them to show we've got high standards. You are not meeting them. We've given you a chance. We've given you every opportunity. You haven't delivered. Thank you, goodbye, and God bless. And the positive thing is I do think we raised the overarching level of our squad this summer. So I think a new guy could come in and before we even talk about winners. And I might be talking a little bit low rent here, but I just want a good structure out of possession so we're not so easy to play against. Right now, I'm so hungry. Give me some bread and butter and a glass of water, and I'll be happy, bruv.
Let me add one small part I said before. Let me add something for you guys. I don't think some Man United fans, and I don't think the board understands how bad the situation is. It has been 13 years since Man United name have been mentioned next to the big competitions, the Champions League or the Premier League. You're the only top club that your name is not mentioned, that you have a chance of winning the title or you come close. By the way, when Mourinho was second, you weren't close to winning the title. You were second, yes.
Mate, you're right.
But that's what people, you're the only club, by the way. Even Spurs reached the Champions League final.
Bruv,
the only one, 13 years.
This is why for the last 2 or 3 years, I've been having fights with Standard FC and I've been having fights with the top Red Brigade. The top Red Brigade, the standards are too low. Standard FC are sort of like, you should back Ten Hag because he won a trophy. But it's not the pinnacle still. Like, I want to get back to the pinnacle, but I understand that you can't do it overnight. And for some reason, I don't know if you get this, Rhino. I know you do a lot of shows with a lot of Man United fans. Very few, in my opinion, have that understanding that you've got to have high standards, but understand it's going to take years to get there.
Yeah.
It's either you do it now or I'm going to throw my toys out the pram, or take as long as you want. I love my club and I don't want to say nothing bad about it. And I almost feel like the fans have got to wise up at the same time and start to be a little bit
change our mentality. Yeah.
I think we do. And this is what's interesting. I was looking, even people that are staunch Ten Hag in, I don't know if you're seeing this in your circles, Rhino and KJ, like most are saying, I wanted it to work, but it's time to go now. Most people look like they've had enough.
Because there's only so far you can go with this backing thing. And I know there's people online who are in the chat saying, you've got to always back your club. How dare you not back your club? No. If my son or daughter, when I have them, is doing foolishness on street, doing drugs, selling certain things, doing a madness, I can't sit there and be like, you know what, son, keep going because you'll change one day. I believe in you because I back you all the way. No, I gotta bring them in, give them a cut around the head within legal means.
Do you guys think that sometimes
the other day, I put my little boy, the teachers come to me and his mother and said that he hit a couple of kids in class today. Now he's in reception, he's just started school, and he hit a couple of other kids, and it's very normal at this age. But of course, I had a stern word with him. He lost the ability to go on his iPad for a couple of days. I put it in my office and I locked it away. And I said, the next time that happens, it'll be your monster trucks that go and your iPad, and it'll be for even longer. And I can already tell he's learned. There are times where you and again, I know that's parenting a 4-year-old boy who's about to turn 5, but I think the principles of leadership, and you know this, you're a leader yourself, Rhino, they are the same. It's just sometimes you're more strict and more severe depending on who the person, their age, the money that's involved. And it's basic principles along those lines. Someone asked me a question like, who would I like to see come in as the next manager? Look, it's an interesting one, right? Do you know what's really funny? De Zerbi's doing quite well, isn't he? At Marseille, which I thought he would. I'd actually really love for him to go and win the league this year, just from a footballing perspective of showing people like I'm the guy. But you look at the names that are available. Again, short term, I'm happy to give Ruud an opportunity if somebody isn't available. But I mean, the problem is when you go out there, I don't think it's about anyone who is available. I think it's about us going out there and breaking the bank and pulling somebody away from a club. I think we might have
Thomas Tuchel short term.
Thomas Tuchel maybe short term could come in.
Not a 5-year contract, not a 4-year contract, just a 2-year contract.
But then, do you know what's funny? Maybe that's, again, you look at Chelsea as an example. I know we were giving them crap last year. They did a short-term deal for Poch, improved in some areas. I know that everyone was laughing at them. They then go to their guy they wanted, their Maresca's then there, and bang, they're improving. So for me, short-term Tuchel, giving Van Nistelrooy an opportunity. But for me, I still like the idea. I mean, I still like the idea of Alonso as an example. But as I like the idea of Simeone, Simeone Inzaghi at Inter Milan. Again, I know Inter Milan are a big club, and I know you'll say I'm not talking about it's possible.
Yeah, but you can pull him with the money. There is no comparison.
I'm talking about maybe that's something we've now got to do is say, boom, there is some fucking cash money, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying?
Even Amorim, bro, he's sitting there sporting.
Amorim.
You know, the problem with Man United is that until they go and act like we aren't mediocre, we are still Manchester United. Like, go on. Sometimes you'll have to act like this. Break the bank for a big coach. Lure the coach with money. You know what I mean? Don't use the name and do the interview. Just go get who you want. Big money. Come in, fix the club. Like, guys, we did the Inter. We had to pay Antonio Conte 12 million, which is triple what the guy before him, because it's not working. We have to break the bank. Sometimes you have to do that. This pride thing, and we're not overpaying. Sometimes you'll have to do this.
To be fair, if you look at what Ineos has done, they took Ashworth from Newcastle, who, remember, when he signed for Newcastle was the next hottest sporting director. Took Barada from Man City, which I don't think is a massive coup in terms of he wanted to leave because he wanted progression. Fair enough. We went to Southampton and was like, yo, listen, I know you just got Wilcox, but we're taking him. And we've been doing that. Lenny Yoro, I don't care. I know you say, yo, you're saying we overpaid for Yoro, cool in it, bro. But he was in the hands of Mel.
But at the end, I get that. At the end, he's a Man United player.
Yeah. But you've got to do it with the manager. Because I just went through this list here, right? I googled it, like best managers in the world. We're actually like deprived of managers you like we used to be, right? You get number 1 is Pep. They put number 2 as Klopp. That ain't happening. Number 3 is Ancelotti. Not happening. Number 4 is Inzaghi of Inter Milan. So again, I think you try and break the bank. This website has Arteta ranked as number 5. They have him above Simeone, which is crazy to me, but that's just this website. I didn't put it together. Simeone's ranked number 6. Again, Simeone's a manager. I know he's on crazy money. Pay it. See what happens. As an example. Again, Unai Emery's in these rankings. Maybe. Alonso's in these as an example. What other names of managers are coming up here? Obviously, Zidane's name always gets mentioned. Thomas Tuchel, Allegri, Luis Enrique, Nagelsmann. Is it pronounced Michel at Girona or Michael?
Girona, yeah.
Is it? Yeah. So go and get. I mean, when you start going beyond that, Almiron. When you start going beyond that, you then get into the Xavis and others, and I'm a bit like, meh. I'm not too sure about them, but it's
very quickly on that. Yeah, I'm kind of not with, because I feel like we've had that kind of guilt of always going for the manager we feels right because of their pedigree and what they've done at other clubs, and maybe to a degree that matters. But I think it's just about the profiling. Does this manager fit where we're trying to go with it? That's the main thing for me. Still,
Two examples: you got Chelsea with Maresca, and the biggest one is Bayern Munich with company. Everyone look at Bayern.
And it's still early as well, though. But yeah, there's still a foundation.
But like considering what they were doing last season, what they are doing now already,
there's a foundation.
Yeah,
Champions
but you
League-
can't compare yourself to Bayern Munich.
No,
completely different league, though.
No, but you can. You absolutely can. It is the profile that's important. And even though sometimes I think, again, people always take it so literally, Klopp and Slot are not the same. They have differences, but there's like an overlap. And I think that's what it's about, that overlap. And there'll be huge similarities in certain things with some subtle differences. And that's what we will have, which is why, to Brandon's point, I get the challenge. And the reason I was getting short with it is just because I actually got questioned about that about 100 times in the summer. And I'm honestly at a point where I'm done talking about it. I can't prove my point. You can't prove yours until we go through these cycles. But Spurs created more XG, 5.33 today, more than United have all season. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. The same situation as Bruno yesterday, and the Leicester player didn't get a yellow. By the way, I've watched the John McGinn one. That was where John McGinn run full pelt and booted a player in the leg. He full pelt kicked it. It weren't the same thing at all.
By the way, the red card, again, another pride from the referees that they didn't want to change. By the way, they knew it's not a red card because we know it's not a red card. We knew that he didn't hit him with the studs. It's a simple foul. It's a borderline yellow card, by the way, right? It's a borderline yellow card. And they just didn't want to change it.
Yeah, it was one of them.
Pride, I promise you, for pride.
Yeah, the way Gary Neville reacted, I was waiting for the replay. I was waiting to see those studs go right in that man's knee. That's what I was waiting for. And then when I saw it, my gut reaction was, "Oh, that'll get overturned." And then I realized, no, it won't. And I think that the fact that you had two ex-Spurs pundits on Sky Sports, and they both just went, "How the hell is that a red card?"
Yeah.
Normally, you get the bit of bias in there. So yeah. Terrible comparison. McGinn nearly broke our player's leg and run across the pitch. That's from a Spurs stand. Thank you. Yeah, it wasn't the same. Again, I don't think you could find me 4 or 5 examples of Bruno Fernandes's red card in Premier League history. I don't even know if it's ever happened. And by the way, I don't think we'll ever see it again. I wonder, after this performance, do Spurs fans think they're going to win the league? Also, please, Ineos, keep Ten Hag forever. In fairness, it's one of those hard ones for Spurs today because the focus is so much on Man United because it wasn't a close game that they won.
Yeah, it wasn't back and forth.
I'm not trying to take nothing away from Spurs. I still feel like so much of today was our problems as opposed to them being amazing. Even like their first goal, Van der Ven's run was great, but Rashford trapped back and pulled him down. The low, why you're not tracking your runner. But I actually don't blame De Ligt like Gary Neville did.
No,
by the time De Ligt was there, Van der Ven's already running at full speed. He should never have got there.
Ugarte's job. And Dalot. Ugarte should stop the run, and Dalot gave up, which is that's the attitude, guys. Attitude.
No, I showed.
Do you think that was the tactic? As soon as the game starts, catch them while they're sleeping. They scored early in the first half.
No, there's no sleeping, bro. He raised his hand, Rhino. Rhino, he raised his hand. He gave up.
The Hag thought, well, not be smart. Let's go machine for machine, gunshot for gunshot with Spurs. We all know, stick back against Spurs and you win.
Do you know what's crazy about it as well? I think what Dalot did. And we had this conversation yesterday on, I don't know whose match reaction it was. It may have been the Arsenal. It was the Arsenal one. And so one of the Arsenal fans said, I want my players to run back and defend like they did against City all the time. And Dalot made a mistake, but I think his mistake happens because of this is why I don't think it's just Rashford's fault for giving up. Just Ugarte's fault, just Dalot's fault. I think they all assumed someone will take care of this in a minute, and I want to be in a position where we can attack. And I remember Liverpool, and the problem is when your team is well oiled and you get it right 9 times out of 10, you can do it. And I think it was I don't think it was Dalot giving up because he couldn't be bothered. I think he thought, I'm going to stay here because we might win the ball back, and then I'm in this space to counter. And he got it wrong. Like that is my gut feeling about
that happens a lot to us, Terry. You know, we get confused, like, oh, he's going, oh, and then sometimes you get all the players leave it, and it's just like, what, like,
well,
yeah, it happens a lot.
Rhino, you're right. Trey, I mean, the beginning of that move was Rashford knocking the ball forward, and he assumed that Garnacho was going to take it. Because if Garnacho takes it, it's 2 players versus Van der Ven for a simple 1-2, and we're in. But both players leave it, and then they score. Again, we make these mistakes too often for me to believe that this is the players. I believe it's the way we're drilled. Trust me. Is it pronounced Honus? Honus from Stuttgart is the next big thing from Germany. Again, and that's also what I think is worth looking at as well. there's up and comers. You know how bad Man United were. Ipswich even played better against Villa. This is it. We know. This is why it's not the players, bruv. This is why it's not the players per se. They're making mistakes. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in to the show today. This is going to redirect you to Mo and Hassam's channel, MHF. So go and support them over there. Rhino, always a pleasure to talk sport with you, mate. Football. Oh, I'm tired. My head's hot. Thank you all for tuning in, though. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.